Welcome to this explainer. If you've been watching the tech job market lately, you might have noticed a sudden, absolutely massive appetite for a position that honestly sounds a lot more like a military rank than a coding job. Today, we're decoding the forward deployed engineer, without a doubt, the most fiercely demanded and lucrative role in the current AI boom. Let's get right into it. Okay, I want to start with a statistic that is just completely staggering. 95%. A 2025 MIT Nanda study looked at 300 public enterprise AI projects and found that 95% of them failed to produce any measurable return on investment, literally zero ROI. And the crazy part? The AI models actually worked perfectly fine, but the deployments themselves? Total failure. So, what's causing that massive failure rate? Well, it's something we call the integration wall. Think about it. AI models look like absolute magic in a pristine little sandbox demo. But the second you try to actually connect them to, say, a hospital's legacy database or a bank's incredibly complex authentication and compliance systems, the whole thing just breaks down. And it turns out the Forward Deployed Engineer, or FDE for short, was built specifically to take a sledgehammer to that exact wall. Section 1. The magic of title arbitrage. To really understand the FDE, we need to take a quick look back at how a clever naming strategy completely revolutionized an engineering culture. Back in 2011, Palantir faced a huge problem. The engineers who were doing the absolute hardest, most critical customer integration work were historically totally undervalued. They were essentially treated like replaceable IT help desk staff. So Palantir did something brilliant. They took these integration engineers, dubbed Findeltas, and completely rebranded the role to the forward-deployed software engineer. Literally overnight, they gave them the autonomy, the high stakes, and the prestige of a startup CTO. This is a perfect example of what Andreessen Horowitz calls title arbitrage. Basically, the idea that titles can be an effective way of memeing into existence the change you want to see in the world. By creating this brand new title, Palantir sent a massive signal that a new, highly strategic power was emerging in the company. And it worked. It magically attracted high-agency, elite engineers who normally would have run for the hills from messy, client-facing work. Palantir basically memed an absolute powerhouse engineering culture right into existence. Section 2. FDE versus software engineer. Let's really break down how this frontline role directly contrasts with traditional software engineering. The absolute crucial point here is understanding who is building for whom. A core software engineer builds inward. They work safely inside their own company's internal codebase, building features meant for all users. Honestly, they might never actually speak to a real customer. But the forward-deployed engineer, they build outward. They are embedded directly inside one specific customer's messy reality. They deal with incredibly high ambiguity, and they completely own that single customer success from start to finish. And because of that environment, their skill sets have to look completely different. Your typical software engineer is I-shaped, meaning they're highly rewarded for deep, specialized focus in just one area. But FDEs, they have to be T-shaped. Sure, they have deep technical chops in one area, but they also have to master a super broad mix across the top. We're talking back-end coding, data pipelines, infrastructure, plus, and this is absolutely vital, crucial executive-level customer communication. Now, you might be thinking right now, wait, isn't this just a solutions architect? Well, not exactly. A solutions architect is mostly there to solve the dream, pre-sales, right? They advise, draw up some high-level diagrams, and then hand it off. The forward-deployed engineer, on the other hand, builds the reality, post-sales. They actually step in, write the production-grade code, and they own the entire outcome until it literally works in the real world. Section 3, the mechanics. Let's take a look at this T-shaped skill set in action and break down exactly how an FDE executes this pretty monumental task on the ground. An FDE's week is, by design, beautifully unpredictable. They are relentlessly cycling through this grueling 4-stage loop. First up is scoping, which means finding the real problem hidden inside a vague customer complaint. Second is prototyping, so rapid-fire coding a proof of concept. Third is deployment, where they take that prototype and harden it so it actually survives production-grade enterprise security and scale. And finally, feedback, taking all those messy field signals and bringing them right back to the core product team. To actually survive that loop today, in 2026, an FDE's toolkit has to be absolutely massive. You're combining traditional coding, like Python, Go, or TypeScript, with some serious cloud infrastructure chops, like Docker, Kubernetes, and Terraform. But now, you also need cutting-edge AI skills. We're talking RAG, vector databases, agentic orchestration like LangGraph or Crew AI, plus AI observability and guardrails. Oh, and you have to integrate all of that securely into complex enterprise identity stuff like SSO and VPCs. It is the whole shebang. Section 4, unpacking the massive salaries. With such an incredibly rare combination of deep technical chops and high empathy communication, it's no surprise at all that the market is fiercely competing for this exact talent. Job listings for FDEs have literally exploded. We're talking an 800% spike recently. Companies across the board are waking up to a pretty harsh reality right now. A generic AI API is completely useless if it just sits on a shelf. They absolutely need builders who can deploy it. Because FDEs are essentially the ultimate revenue multiplier, securing multi-million-dollar enterprise renewals just by making the tech actually work, their total compensation is astronomical. Entry-level new grads are pulling in between $140,000 and $250,000. Mid-level is easily $250,000 to $400,000. By the time you hit senior or staff level, you're looking at $610,000 to over $750,000. And principal engineers at Frontier Labs, over $1.2 million. That easily rivals and often totally eclipses traditional software engineering tracks. Interestingly enough, the geography for these jobs is shifting too. New York has officially dethroned San Francisco as the primary hub for FDE roles. New York now holds 35% of job postings compared to SF's 11%. Why the flip? Well, because this role is all about navigating really complex regulatory constraints. So New York's super dense fintech and healthcare enterprise landscape is exactly where that integration wall is the thickest. Section 5, surviving the FDE interview. So the pay is incredible, the impact is huge, but how do you actually land one of these roles at heavyweights like OpenAI, Anthropic, or Palantir? You are going to face what is known as the brutal decomposition interview. This is definitely not your standard LeetCode puzzle. You're going to get a massive, highly ambiguous prompt, something like, a major city wants to reduce 911 response times. They have messy call data, traffic APIs, and ambulance GPS. You have 60 minutes. Go. It's intense, but it's intentionally designed to simulate the exact chaos of a live, high-stakes customer deployment. Now, the trap most engineers fall into right out of the gate is instantly jumping to design some complex predictive AI model. If you do that, you're going to fail. To win this, you have to demonstrate radical ownership. Don't jump straight to a solution. Ask clarifying questions to scope out the constraints. Decompose that huge problem into solvable chunks. Pitch the absolute simplest possible MVP first. And most importantly, discuss the technical trade-offs explicitly, like why you choose Kafka versus simple polling. Both traditional software engineering and forward-deployed engineering are incredible, highly lucrative career paths. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final question. Where do you want to make your impact? Are you built for the deep, focused safety of an internal code base? Or are you ready to embrace the chaotic, high-stakes front line of the enterprise and become tech's ultimate secret weapon?